5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Such great music.
Hello and welcome to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. So this is the podcast where my co-host and I get together at our podcast host, and today we are at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Surprise. And what we do is we give our version of the truth of all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts that came out the previous week. Now, hopefully, there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of the other podcasts, and so far, so good.
We will find out in real time tonight.
That's true. I am Marco. I am a taproom manager locally, and that voice you heard belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia. I am a drinker of all the wonderful craft beers here in Cincinnati, and it is so goddamn close to beer event season.
Very close.
The boxes are built. They will be ready to be picked up maybe by the time this episode comes out,
Possibly.
if not very, very soon thereafter. And I'm super excited to be here tonight.
Yeah, I am too. And we have a mystery guest.
I'm exploding with excitement about beer event season.
That's right.
Love you guys.
Oh, my God. It is.
And if you've
Just want to pop.
That's right.
So, right, it's like firecrackers just exploding around us,
Yeah.
the excitement with all of this. Huge shout out to Higher Gravity and absolutely every goddamn second that they put into these boxes, from the time that they say, all right, it's time to do the pre-orders, up until handing them out to people,
Right.
and all of the trials and tribulations that come within that.
Lots of trials and tribulations.
I believe
sometimes.
there are still beer blah, blah, blah. This is great,
Let's
guys.
go.
This is great. There are still some beer vent boxes to buy, so if you have not purchased your beer vent boxes, do so ASAP. HigherGravityCraftHouse.com, HAUS, the nice German pronunciation or spelling or both. There are only a couple left, at least one. Get it. The beers are going to be fantastic. And December 1st, man, I'm going to be starting to post parodies and random stories and God knows what else about every single day and the beer that I'm picking out every single day. So
I'm
you don't want to
excited.
miss it.
I'm so excited. I'm going to try to make all kinds of content with this box this year.
Oh, that's going to
That's awesome.
So pumped.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to mention that all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are from directly the people that are speaking and do not represent any entity that they may or may not represent.
Correct.
After having said that,
I was going to say, I've definitely got comments after you said that.
I was going to say,
If you make
that-
a beer that explodes on a shelf, you're an asshole.
Oh
You're
my
an
God,
asshole.
yeah.
You're
Well,
an
oh
absolute
my God.
asshole.
and that disclaimer was mainly meant for me. But anyway, also, along with that, thank you to everybody who's been with us for a while. Thank you to anyone who's new coming along for the ride today. Actually, no craft beer podcast would be a good craft beer podcast if you weren't drinking craft beer, and we are. And so, how about our guest? What are you drinking today?
I guess first, does our
you-
guest want to introduce?
Yeah, introduce yourself, whatever.
Who the hell are you? How
I-
did you get here? Why are you wearing our headsets and using our mic? What is happening?
My name is Brian. I'm from Shift Beers.
Okay.
That's not
You
real.
exist?
I'm the Gnarly Gnome. I
Welcome.
do beer things.
You do amazing beer things.
Well, thank you.
Amazing.
But right now I'm doing an amazing beer thing, and that is drinking a beer. Little Fish. This is the
Wet hop
The wet hop.
IPA.
What was it called? Estate something or other. Estate. Didn't they put numbers or something on them? I can't read anything. Is it even estate? Just as estate wet hop. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
a
state
wet
wet
hop.
hop.
Wet
Yeah,
Estate
yeah.
wet hop.
Wet hop pale ale. Do they call it a pale ale?
I think it's just an IPA. I think
not
they
an
actually
It says, IPA.
No, it doesn't. It says
American Pale Ale, an APA.
Yeah, it's
What-
good.
I was looking at
What-
the beer above it.
What
My
are
bad.
styles anymore? I mean,
are
really.
styles?
Yes, yes.
But it's good.
Harry
This is
Styles.
a great beer. Wish there was a little more like carbonation maybe to it, or something that kind of gives it some kind of
Deliciousness?
zip. But man, it's good beer no matter what.
good.
Good, excellent.
Good.
I am drinking a beer that Marco picked out for me. This is Saunder's Grapefruit Blanc.
Ooh,
It is quite tasty. I'm not the biggest grapefruit fan, but this is balanced so
My bad,
incredibly. No. This is balanced. I wanted to try this. This is incredibly well balanced to where you get that nice grapefruit tang tartness, but it's not overpowering like some grapefruit IPAs would be. I really
It's easy
like
to go
this.
overboard with grapefruit.
It is, and this is done exceptionally well. So well done, Sonder and Marco.
I'm having all day IPA from Founders. There you go.
Excellent.
Founders. Shout out to Founders and all of their issues.
Boy, that could be
yeah.
an entire podcast in and of itself.
I didn't know we were still drinking them, but all right.
It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum. It really is.
It's tasty, so you want to drink it.
No, it more has to do with the board and
That's
like
they have like 400 different cans that you could
I could have
have.
grabbed a can. You're right.
Yes.
If I didn't
No
want
excuses.
to, if I didn't want to buy a beer that had many some baggage, and you know what?
You could have just walked around the
I'm
corner
going to.
and there we go.
I'm going to. Next time, I'm not going to get it.
You're going to the
That's
cooler.
what
All
I'm
right,
doing.
there we
I'm
go.
going to the cooler.
Sounds good.
And you're right. I should have done
Let's
that.
leave the racism in the keg.
Correct. I should have done that.
All right. Well, this week, pretty much every single podcast, except for yours, Gnome, completely shit the bed and left us hanging. So the only podcast that we have to cover.
I shit the bed during my podcast. I actually shit myself during the podcast.
Boy, that's awkward.
Congratulations.
That's.
Shit on my lap lawn.
I didn't realize we were talking about Stout Blowout here. Is that
That's what it was.
is it going out? But no,
Yeah,
I mean,
tying it all
Stout
together.
blowout.
tying everything together.
Make sure you
That's
listen
what
to
we
all of the episodes
that we
are
release. Yes. But I mean, again, huge shout out to Craft Parenting Podcast that is always very good about weekly episodes. They've been sick. They've had other stuff going on. So hopefully everyone's feeling better. Hopefully they'll be able to get a new episode out in a week or two. Shift Beers, they've been incredibly busy. Sonder Stories, who the hell knows what's happening with them? They release an episode, disappear into the ether again. You never know. Or as Marcus says,
You never knew.
thank you. But we have talked, and even if not a single podcast releases, we will still be here to talk about something. So, Gnome, thank you for putting out a show this week so we have at least one podcast to talk about.
I live to serve.
We will try not to make our normally hour-ish long episode an entire hour about your hour-long episode.
It's all right. I really think I could talk for a really long time about this episode.
Oh, I agree. So what do you say? What do you say we dig right into Season 8, Episode 25 of the Cincinnati Brewcast?
All right. Cheers, everyone. We drink.
This is a new area. I'm doing
It's a very
great.
old area.
It's a very old area. A new era of the Cincinnati Beverage Company, a.k.a. the Little Kings episode. Because that was definitely a big part of this, and it was all fantastic. I thought it was great. But what I want to start with is not Elliot, is not Cincinnati Beverage Company, is not Little Kings. I want to start with Manscaped.
Okay.
You
All
are
right.
getting better and better with every single
you. Thank you.
Manscaped ad you do.
Yeah.
It is always so incredibly awkward for me laughing, just like I don't need to know about this stuff, but it is so fucking funny. And I ordered the scrubber.
Here, look at this.
Oh
See if I
gosh.
can get a good.
He's opening his sack in front of us. This is, dude.
I was hoping there would be more of a jingle from this. Check this out.
He's flapping his latch.
Manscaped.com.
Jesus Christ.
Supposed to jingle
but-
more like I was undoing my pants.
You've been doing a lot. It's been certainly the. I hope that what you're doing with that is growing. I think that it's
Stays about
becoming
the same size depending on the
becoming
temperature outside.
smoother and smoother as you've been doing this. I think everybody can clearly see.
Stays the
what
same
is
size. Very large.
The message
by the way.
with this. Hopefully that. This is paying dividends, and you're able to make it rain. At home.
I don't know. I don't know where to go from that, but yes, I appreciate Manscaped a lot for supporting
man.
my show and all of the shows that they do. They support podcasts very heartily, and
That's great.
I appreciate that.
Seemed like a very smooth and seamless, partnership.
So,
it's
Marco,
pretty
I've actually made several purchases from Manscaped already. How about you? Putting you on the spot there.
Marco doesn't know how
no.
to purchase things on his phone. He
Oh,
doesn't
this
know
is
how to
true.
do it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well-
Wait a minute. Holy shit.
However,
Liam, where the hell-
he knows how to, get other people to purchase things off of
This
his
is
phone.
Wow. Go behind the curtain there.
couple
Yes,
layers to
yes.
that.
Holy shit.
Hey, Julia, I want to order some stuff to shave my balls. Can you hold my thing for me and do that for me?
Oh,
It's
my
like,
th-
whoa,
oh,
whoa,
no,
whoa,
the
whoa,
thing.
whoa, whoa,
Oh,
I think.
no.
Well, I think
Whoa.
he was referencing the other thing.
The other.
I was putting
yes,
them all together in the same package. The same package.
The Sunday football party
same,
that I
you
did
know,
not
just-
know I was funding.
Gotta use two hands. Same package.
Two hands. Yeah,
Yes, of
that's
course, two
true.
hands,
That's
yes.
true. Nice.
heard.
enough.
Jesus Christ, you guys.
This is-
You should get sponsored by Manscaped for that commercial.
Hey,
Love to.
Manscaped,
Hit us up.
You know, although you know who we would love to, not necessarily be sponsored by, but who we would love to have some sort of a partnership with.
Higher gravity?
We already have that. They are fantastic to us.
We love higher gravity.
Sam Adams, and especially in 2023, because that will be another Utopia's
Utopia's year.
year. And speaking of, if you are going to Beer Booze Bonks, Boink Spinks, Boobies Biscuits, Bananas, Boomerangs, Bangerangs, and all of the amazing things that Gnome is
Boogers.
here. There we
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
If you see Marco or I there, ask us about Utopias, and we have I don't want to act like this is a big grandiose thing, but we have a very limited number of very special merch, swag stuff
Yeah.
to give to
A
people.
merch item.
Yes, to give to people that specifically ask us about Utopias, because that's how we'll know that you've listened to the episode.
I'll throw in a free T-shirt on those too. Anybody that
Hell yeah.
comes over and gets a free special merch from you guys, we'll throw a.
So
a
they
Gnome
show
T-shirt.
you. So they'll show you
No, they'll show
our
you.
merch. Okay.
And then you guys gotta figure all that out.
Oh, okay.
Come over to my wife and tell her
Nice.
that you need
Hell
shirts. and
yeah,
just
I
pick
love
shirts.
that. I love that. So if you're listening to the episode, you know we'll mention this once again next episode, because next week is already
That's true. It's getting way too close.
BBB. It is very close. But let's go ahead and get into the episode, and then if we want to tangent into the festival at all, we can, whatever you're willing and wanting to talk about.
I mean, we should. We should do that.
Sure.
So-
So this episode had Elliot Coulter. He's the COO of CinBev. Awesome.
Elliot.
I wanted to reach out and touch your finger too.
It's at the helm of the ship, as I like to say it.
That's awesome. There was a really cool background of how Cincinnati Beverage came into all of the. Is it all the Moreline brands? Is that kind of the fair way to phrase it? Not at all.
No, it's just all the brands, all of the historical brands, except for
So but they were talking about in the episode, it was either buying individual brands or the whole portfolio. So what is the umbrella that entire portfolio fell under?
CinBev.
Just
CinBev
but
is the whole
prior
portfolio.
To, right, currently.
As
But
of
prior to that, was there any single umbrella
it was
housed?
it was more line previous to last year ish.
Okay,
That's when
okay.
it kind of got rebranded and called CinBev, which is a little bit. It feels weird. CinBev sounds like a weird.
It's kind of an AB InBev, even though I know that that's 100% not it, and I'm not trying to say that, but it sounds more like a.
It makes more sense though to have an umbrella that kind of covers all of these.
Sure.
brands.
Okay. But there was no. And again, this is I'm the way that I want to word this doesn't sound the way that I want it to say. But prior to the Christian Moreline umbrella over those brands, there was no overarching
No.
umbrella. Okay, so and the brands we're talking about: Burger, Little Kings, Hughie. The list goes
Red Top,
kind of on and on and on.
Cliffside, Felsenbrow, Jackson.
Exactly,
I mean, there's-
exactly.
The list goes on and on and on and on. There's so many brands under
Right.
that umbrella.
And they had the opportunity to just purchase individual brands, but they said, no, we want all of them, which is why I wasn't sure if they were all under one umbrella previously or not. That's the one mild point of confusion. Just, again, still learning about a lot of this stuff that I had with the explanation for the episode.
The other thing I think we should probably just get out of the way right at the beginning is that the Lager House
Is not.
is not in CinBev.
Right. However, the Lager House does have a partnership with CinBev to sell some of those brands in-house. So Moreline is a CinBev brand, The Moorline Lager House is a separate company
So,
that does their own thing. It's very confusing.
so could you say that the Moorline Lager House is more of a Moorline distributor?
No. I
No.
wouldn't say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Because they produce, they make
Right,
beer
right.
in-house. And
Right, okay.
I don't want people to get confused on that, to think that the Moorline Lager House is just selling beer that somebody else makes.
Sure, right. They make
their
it
own beer.
in-house, right. Yeah, okay. It's, like you said, it's just kind of a very confusing situation to try to map out, especially in an audio format. I feel like
Right.
if this was something where you had a whiteboard that people were watching,
we
we could
should
be
have a
drawing
whiteboard. That
lines.
would
We
be good.
should. We could put one
And
right
video.
right here.
Whiteboard right
I'll
here.
draw
Right
on
there.
I'll draw right here, guys.
There we
so
go.
This
Oh, okay.
this is
See that?
Moorline right here. You
Yes.
hear, you see this? And then over here, this is a Little
That is-
Kings.
That is the best. Is that a Little King's bottle or is that a picture of your? Never mind.
Whoa.
Never mind.
Yep, manscaped.com. Over here, this is everything else. So see how
Yes.
it all fits together?
Yeah, it all makes it complete clarity now. Yeah. And it's like what's funny is since I'm facing the walls, like Marco and Gnome can see me like trying to like
She's trying to actually
like
decipher
trying
what
to
I'm writing.
find, and it's not working, guys.
No, it's audio. I was
Not
trying to make
working.
sounds.
Oh my God. You kind of tried to one up Elliot by saying, sure, we're talking about CinBev brands. Let's drink some Sam Adams beer.
He provided the beer.
was-
We
oh.
walked into the cooler
Oh.
at Moorline.
Okay.
And this was some of their personal stash from this is not the business provided. Personal.
Sure, it's, yeah.
And the cooler, which I've never seen look like this, was just empty because they have been emptying out the
Mm-hmm.
previous spot and moving everything over to the new location. And all that was in there was like this little tiny pallet with like
Like a 12-pack of Sam.
like some like people's beers before they go home, and and so one of the
awesome.
things was Sam Adams. He's like, I'm gonna drink Sam Adams. He's like, what do you want? That is perfect
That
for
is
this
excellent.
conversation.
Nice. Very, very nice. So there was no contention about, even though we're starting to brew
Not at all.
and stuff. Excellent. Good deal. Elliot's history. Go ahead.
So what I was going to ask is, I think I know the answer, but anybody who listened may still have the question. I know previously that the ownership was contract brewing those beers.
Yes,
This is not contract brewed?
this
Am I-
is contract brewed.
Oh, it
this,
is?
This current batch that he mentioned going and hanging out while they were brewing it.
Yes.
is contract brewed.
Okay.
It is not contract bottled, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It will be bottled in house. They just their actual brewing production is not ready to go yet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. I'm glad I asked.
Steps. It's like
Sure.
one thing at a time, trying to get everything set up in the new facility.
Otherwise, it would
It's
be
happening.
another 2, 3, who knows how long
Okay,
before
so
you
who
actually
knows?
had it right. Okay.
And so what
There is not a it'll be a little while before they're able to
There's not a brew house
in-house. The brew house, no. The brew house is still in the old location. As of when people are hearing this, I don't know if that's true. They're out of the building by the end of the month.
Okay.
So the brew house will leave by the end of the month. Once that brew house gets hooked up and fired up, like that's obviously still a process after that. But
right.
Sure. Okay.
it is happening though.
And they're the location that they are eventually going to brew at and are currently going to bottle at is what?
Cliffside.
Cliffside.
Okay. Very good.
All right.
Felsen Brow.
Which is right next
I
to,
might have those mixed. I might have those reversed, but
I feel like Cliffside
Felsen-
was mentioned more than Well, no, you guys talked a lot about Felsenbrow, but there were. I feel like it was.
they're right next to each other.
Right,
It's the
they're right
same
next
building.
door.
It's
then Jackson Brewery, which is also
Jackson is up on the
right.
hill.
Jackson- yeah,
It's-
Jackson's
Right.
separate.
and that one
Right.
will be very far off before we see anything with that because
And that's
it's
the one
so far.
that the discussion was about making it into originally, maybe the tap room side of
No,
it.
no, no, no.
But no,
That-
Yeah, that's
place is-
event space or
it's just going to be a big ball pit.
maybe
Is what I
maybe a
was
ball pit.
hearing.
Could be.
Event space. I mean, who doesn't
like to
want to
see
do
That's the entrance.
I'd like to see a hotel personally.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's where some of the brewery tours enter to go into lagering tunnels.
Incredible lagering tunnels. This was the space that Urban Artifact, when they were still Grayscale Brewing, that was their first space that they were trying to rehab and move into, that then burnt down a few years back.
Sounds like an odd
It
coincidence
was arson.
there.
It was
right,
no.
right,
That's a thing we can say.
Yeah. So Brett said, if we can't have it, no one can, and tried to burn the damn place down. But as Elliot talked about in the episode, the bones of the buildings, the way that they were built 100 and some odd years ago, yeah, there was repairs that needed to be done, but the foundation, the shells, the kind of the core structures of these buildings.
That wouldn't happen with a building like we're in.
No, God, no, absolutely not. I really liked how Elliot dug into how much work they did on just the cliffside smokestack.
Yeah.
He's like, we repaired every single brick we were able to. We didn't want to tear down and rebuild. These are still good structures.
And even I don't know if this was in the episode or not, but he was telling me about their offices in this new space. How once they pulled the drop ceiling out of it and everything, there was these really cool cement ceilings with the impressions of the wood in them from where
wow.
and he's like, nobody.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the episode.
Nobody's ever going to
awesome.
see this.
No.
He's like, but we restored it and we made it a part of the space because we wanted it to become part of the. I don't think he said this to me, but the soul of the building, it really does mean something to them, and
which is awesome.
It's hard to believe, it's hard to trust. You see a lot of big companies that buy brands and things like that.
They're like, we're going to restore
you don't
it,
trust
but
them.
it's sure.
This is, I guess, cautiously optimistic. Is how I keep.
Is
saying
the
this.
entire? I feel, I don't know if saying new ownership group is the right term or not. Are they all local? Because I know Elliot talked a bit about kind of coming in and out to where.
He is definitely
Right,
local. The company itself, the ownership company,
The Sugar Creek Gang?
Yeah, they're from Wilmington, is where that company started.
So it's still local-ish. I mean, that's
depending
still
on your
not-
definition of local. But
Right. I mean, does that still
I
fit within
consider
your
it.
40-mile radius?
No, they don't. That would be
It's close.
That would be like a Dayton or it would be Columbus. I guess.
Yeah.
But
still,
I'll take them.
Still close enough to where it's not someone from, I don't know, L.A. or the Pacific Northwest going, let's come into Cincinnati and see what we can do here. There was still...
Or Pittsburgh.
Fuck Pittsburgh. Not a fan. Well, I'm a fan of a few of their breweries. Not a fan of the city or the football team.
Okay.
All I'm going to say. There was a lot of Little Kings talk in this because I want to say that's...
Little Kings is definitely the push right now. I mean,
Right.
if we really want to put things out black and white and look at what this is, if you want to take these brands or one of these brands or multiple of these brands and build them into something that is
Let's bring
a
something
big
back.
thing.
Sure.
Little Kings is the thing that's going to be
absolutely.
the biggest.
Absolutely.
Hootie is great, and I know that us here in Cincinnati, we all love Hootie Delight and
Hey, there's a
Hootie
14K
Amber
race
or whatever it
dedicated
is.
to it still.
14K. But that doesn't extend outside of Cincinnati.
Right.
Maybe it could one day. Maybe we could try to figure out a way to make that happen. But
everyone
it's not right now.
everywhere knows Little Kings.
Little Kings, I when when CinBev put out a post, they say, hey, we were on Cincy Brewcast this week. We're talking about Little Kings. The people that respond to that aren't people that
They're
live
not
here.
local, right?
It's
I saw that. I noticed
Florida,
that.
Texas, California, Oregon. It's these people that are like, oh yeah, I love Little Kings. We're ready to get it back.
Right, and you're kind of like, do what now?
What?
Where?
You're still following the account and you're engaging with it enough that it's popping up on your feed that you saw this today.
Right. So
that's impressive.
When Little Kings was brought back, I guess you want to say temporarily, whatever you want to say, a year-ish ago, was it nationally distributed or did they just bring that back local? That's what I thought. I'm like, I don't think that when they redid that. So I'm like, how...
I don't know when the last time it was distributed
outside of the Cincinnati area.
Outside of kind of that. I have no idea.
That's
it's been a while though.
So they talked
I'd
a
say
little.
90s is probably my guess.
Good God, these people are dedicated to that beer. Which,
but it's a really crazy, a fun brand. Not only is the beer approachable for everybody,
you got the bottle.
Those
you've got
freaking bottles. Those 7-ounce green bottles. They're different. And that
do you think Little Kings, the beer itself, in any other format other than those bottles, do you think it would be as big of a deal
No.
as it was? Okay, so it's, and again, I hate using the word gimmick, but it kind of is a gimmick to have
Yeah.
the bottle shape, the name, all that.
The beer's not bad, but the fact that it's in those little green bottles makes it even better than what it is.
That's fair. That's
In
fair.
my opinion.
And it's a cream ale. And
That does not have cream.
That does not have lactose.
Yes.
As cream
Yes.
ales should not have lactose in them.
Correct.
They should not.
Elliot did say that they were making sure that the recipe for this was as close as they could to the original. He did mention like an ABV.
I have no idea whether it's a good idea or not a good idea.
Right, well,
I
and
just hope
that's-
the product is what they expect and tasty. Right.
Right.
So I mean, he brought on, and I say brought on kind of loosely. They already had somebody on their staff that used to work at Shaneling, brought on somebody else that was currently working at Sam Adams that used to work at Shaneling, which is where Sam Adams is here in Cincinnati. This guy, he's been there for decades, so he used to be there when they made Little Kings.
That's
and so
so
he
awesome.
brought these people on the staff. They kind of went back and forth and figured out this is what Little Kings is supposed to be. This is what the recipe was versus what it has been in the last few years. We're gonna tweak things and we're gonna make this. It's fun. I love it.
I am so excited to see everything happen with. I know that they mentioned that they're hoping to have the first batch out in December.
First batch will be on shelves in December. Now,
Okay,
that will not be
so
brewed
will be-
in their new location.
Right,
That's contract
right.
brewed still, bottled in-house.
Okay.
And it'll be on shelves in December.
That's exciting. I know that there are
I'm going to
plenty of
drink
people
an
that are going to
entire
be
case
excited.
of it at Christmas. An entire case
why
myself.
wouldn't you? Well,
Well, I mean,
we know that
challenge accepted.
and Joe and their whole family will do nothing but drink Little Kings through the entire Christmas season.
I respect it.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Did you hear, and they didn't really mention this, or you didn't really mention the podcast on normal.
Sounds so judgmental.
I- no,
they
no,
didn't
no, no,
mention
no,
this,
no, no.
and by they I mean you.
Well,
you didn't mention this.
I'm
asshole.
not how I meant
Sorry,
it.
I tried.
I'm used to when we talk about podcasts, we don't have the podcast host sitting with us. Right. So normally it's they, and then I'm like, well, shit, no, it's you because you're right here. No judgment. Is it going to
I
be?
blame Marco.
It's always
That's fine.
Marco's fault.
It's my fault.
It really is. Distribution for it, is it going to be kind of limited to start? Did they mention, or are they going to be kind of
No, it'll be local, like right off the bat.
like
and
Kroger local or like bottle shop local? That's what I'm. And again,
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I assume that Kroger's not going to turn down Little Kings.
Oh,
once
God,
it's
they
there.
would be
I can't imagine,
stupid to
but
do that, yeah.
I don't know that they have any agreement right now to
Okay.
have any kind of shelf space. But I can't imagine Kroger's not going to take.
No, God, no. Bump the hard Mountain Dew off the shelves and put the
Well,
Little
I
Kings.
still got to try it
I
before I,
know,
make that decision.
same. Ooh, did you just say that you might want Kroger to sell hard Mountain Dew over Little Kings? I think you did.
Both. I need both.
I think. Oh.
I will drink hard Mountain Dew and
with a
then
Little
chug
King
Little
chaser.
Kings.
Oh my God!
No,
favorite
Little
drink
Kings
to chase
first.
with Little Kings,
Whiskey.
or whiskey. All right.
Oh,
all right.
okay. Whiskey. All right.
That's
Good.
fair.
They go good together.
Not Jaeger. I know a couple people were
No.
mentioning
That's weird. That's weird.
Oh, get that out of
Jaeger
here.
doesn't really go good with anything except
The only
sadness and
time
regret.
that I drink Jaeger is my Josh and I have I don't even know how we even started this tradition. The first snow of the year that sticks. So the first time it's actually sticking on the ground, doesn't just hit and melt. We go outside while it's snowing and we each do a shot of Jaeger. We've had the same bottle of Jaeger in our freezer for
I could do that with you.
Almost
and then I
8
would
years
barf
now,
all
and
over
that-
your
and then that's
shoes
it.
the first time one sip of Jaeger hits me. It's just like barf.
shit
Well,
on my lap
we do-
in the snow.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
it's all tying back
I don't
together.
think Jaeger is bad. Like I
It's
will do
not-
a shot of Jaeger. I don't care. I don't think it's as bad as people give it. But
No, I
it's
don't mind
not
it. It's
something
just
that
an
I
auto reflex
want.
where it would
Gotcha.
just come right back up.
All right.
Boom.
Good God.
I'll take a shot of Jaeger over a shot of Malort any day.
I haven't had Malort.
I haven't either.
I
haven't either,
Could have similar reaction. I don't know.
Could be. Let's see. What other notes do I have here? We're running through all this. I mean, we're already half hour in, so this is pretty good.
Nope.
We might actually have an episode.
What do you guys think the the role of a brand like Little Kings or Hootie or Shaneling or whatever it may be? How do you think that fits into the current craft beer marketplace? Because we're like in this thing now where everybody wants the new thing. They want fresh, new hops, new
So
fruits, and
is the question, will nostalgia sell?
how does it fit in?
I know that's what
Because
you
it does
said,
sell,
but-
because
Sure,
Pabst
right,
still
right.
sells. Hamm's somehow
sells,
is still on
right,
shelves.
right.
Schlitz, I can go to the store and buy Schlitz still.
You can?
It's
That
it's
is
weird.
such
What,
a-
you didn't bring
Junk-
any with
junk-
you?
That is almost as bad as Creamy Kitty.
It's
I'm just, yeah.
it's nowhere close to Creamy Kitty.
Schlitz.
Schlitz is still like a,
Here, hand me your Schlitz. Put a Schlitz in my hand. Let me. Come on.
that's
I don't
better
know.
than
It's-
give me your Creamy Kitty.
It's they're both up there for me. They're both awkward. It's like
That was a joke in reference to
Yes.
a beer thing. I was not
Yes.
telling Julia to give me her Creamy Kitty for anybody who cuts that out of the podcast and then posts it out and cancels me.
the editing is going to be amazing on this one. No, but I think that, and this is, some people consider a legacy brand to be kind of a dirty word, like, oh, I don't want to be called legacy, I don't want to be, whatever. But I feel like it
Legacy,
is
like
needed.
Revolution, is that?
Legacy brand,
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. I don't think people should be offended by that because it is kind of the core of Cincinnati craft beer tradition. Like, this is one of the things that made Cincinnati beer
But where does
what
it fit in
is.
today?
I'm getting there.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
getting there. Without having that, I don't know if you want to call it a baseline or a foundation of what, and even though these aren't new recipes, but it is a modern reiteration of what was brewed, without having those foundational beers to go back to experience. If all you know are the milkshake IPAs, the pastry stouts, the crazy overly hopped, everything. If you don't know what Cincinnati beer tasted like back in the beginning of the boom of it all, and again, slight variances just because
Right.
of the types of ingredients you can get today are not the exact same ones you were able to get however many years ago.
They're better.
But without that, you don't know. This might sound weird, but like how good we have it. They're great beers.
I think there's a place.
But-
I think there's a place for the past and the
Absolutely.
present,
Absolutely.
and they can live together. They occupy different segments of beer drinkers, and I think that is good to have that legacy or nostalgia there, and I think it's important to acknowledge, lean into, and just like you're going to run you are running a beer event. I mean,
I would have Little Kings on tap.
That's my
at
point.
That would be
If
amazing.
if they were able to
Will
provide
Little
it.
King's
That's my
bottles
point.
fit
And-
in the mystery beer machine?
No, but
Damn
it would
it.
clog everything up.
yeah, but
Damn
and we're going to talk about that event later. But that was my point. Is that
Yeah.
that's not to go to the trick or treat thing. That's not a trick. It's a treat.
Right.
It's so I'm here for it. I'm glad it's coming back, and I hope to, I hope they have the sort of success that they want to have. It sounds like the money's not the problem, and they're going to make it work. And
Yeah,
if
He didn't directly say that, but I got that impression too.
if money's not the problem, and
I think the direct quote, and I may be paraphrasing. He said, "If we need to buy new tanks or new equipment or new states or countries, we'll do it."
so
It's my truth.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that ties back to the. It used to be a joke like, oh, I don't want to drink my dad's beer, my grandpa's beer. Those beers weren't bad. It's just what we have the exposure to
Well-
today is so completely different than those standards, foundations. Again, whatever word I'm trying to pick out of the air, that's just not. None of it sounds right tonight for whatever reason to me.
I
But
think
it gives you a good idea of this is what everything you're drinking today came from And this is how good it still is. Yes, it may not be the exact style you're used to seeing on every tap board, on every draft list and every bottle shop. This is where we came from, and you should have the ability to experience that. And I love that
I think
CinBev's doing that.
I think that with science, technology, I think that with equipment and the way that the maltsters are treating malt, I think we can make an even better representation of what something was in the past.
It doesn't have to taste like the beer did, but it's just giving people a minute to stop and think about the fact that this beer used to exist.
And it's one of the most awarded beers in Cincinnati.
It's close.
Yeah, very close.
If not the top, it's right up there still.
And there's no reason that if they do this right, that it can't be.
Do you know how much I would lose my shit
winner
if Little
again.
Kings won another medal for something in the next 5 years or
That
so?
would be amazing.
I think it could.
I do too.
I think it could
really
too.
do too.
Yeah. I don't have.
Fuck you, Moosey. I love you, Andy.
Which one?
Yeah, all of them.
All the Andes. No, I'd say I don't have a ton of really strong memories of my dad, but I do remember there were always Little Kings around. So even
Little Kings
Like, it's
is definitely
just,
one of those
my
beers
God,
too. The fact that it's in those little bottles.
right.
Everybody
was it the
has
beer,
a
was
story
it the
about
bottle? Yes.
lining them up on something as you're drinking them, and then your wife or whoever comes out and gives you shit, and I wasn't drinking that much. Bullshit.
But you have,
weren't.
like,
I
five-
see them lined up on the counter.
I want, you know how at
can't just throw 'em
you know
away.
at hockey games they do the beer pyramids.
Oh yeah.
One of those with Little Kings bottles. It'd be a terrible idea once they get
bad
knocked
idea.
down. But can you imagine just that pyramid of just that green glass rising up to the top of God knows what?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
I love the brand. I love everything about it.
It's
I'm
great.
here for it.
Which of the other brands are you excited for them to be bringing back other than Little Kings?
I'm excited for some of the ones that people don't know about. So be it Red Top or Cliffside, I'm excited for all of those to finally get their chance to shine a little bit.
Were there any?
Hootie is great, but
Were there any? And this is 100% wasn't covered at all in the podcast, but was there any discussion of timeline of kind of starting with Little Kings just because that is the most well known?
I think I asked.
Hootie. There was a bit, but I didn't know if there was any kind of order that they or
no,
if all that's still
it was
up
right
in the
now.
air.
Focus is on Little Kings, and then after Little
Right
Kings,
here.
definitely Hootie is right there behind it, and then beyond that, we'll see
Not
where
sure.
we're at
Cool.
that point.
Cool. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm really excited to see how.
God, I'm just
How they
I'm
do
gonna
everything,
drink
how they
so
lay
many
everything
Little
out.
Kings this winter. I'm so ready for it. Actual Little Kings, not any
Yes,
kind
not
of
just
flavored 16-ounce cans. Little Kings should not ever be in a 16-ounce can.
I feel like I have
unless it's
I
joke.
feel like I have a little bit of pride that I never had any of the flavored versions that came out during that run. Because one of those, no, I don't feel like that's what it should be. It's fine to have them, but to me, I'm just that's just not what I remember. So I'm not gonna partake. And who knows? Maybe I missed out. Maybe I didn't. But
Do you guys think that a company, for example, we'll say CinBev, do you think that they need a more modern brand that can do some kind of, be it flavored stuff or be it
whatever the trendy thing
IPAs or
Not if what
pastry
they're-
stouts or just a brand that is able to do that? Because currently under that umbrella, none of those brands, in my opinion, can.
No, I don't think they have to. Here's the tough part, though, is making what they can identify with in the volume and the process enough to make it cost effective to replace PBR, to replace hams, to replace whatever that's going to be.
But both of those examples, I think you can very quickly replace hams and PBR in Cincinnati.
But my point is the cost of product, scale, ingredients, and production. Can you put out a 6-pack or a 6-pack of Texas Tall Boys for the same price? And there's no craft brewery here locally that really, from a margin perspective, I believe, that's a good margin move. And I think that's the bigger problem is that so you can do it. It's not a fiscally responsible thing to do.
I guess
But however, if you did do it and money wasn't the problem, you could grow that to where it became not a problem.
But in order to be able to do that, the only way that people have, in my opinion, the only way that companies have been able to find a way to kind of play in that game is to have something else. The other
The thing that affords you,
the pastry
margin
stouts
to
or
be
the
able
New
to
England
do it.
IPAs or the sours or whatever it is. This other thing that then gives you wiggle room to crank out the.
Well, maybe
the
it's
little
their tap room bacon house.
Maybe.
You know, maybe they're making so much bacon off of bacon that they can put that stuff out.
Food option going to be at?
What's bacon on top of bacon?
There will be bacon. We know that.
There's got to be
No,
bacon.
I don't think they need to do anything that is the current trend, the popular option, whatever, because I feel that there's already enough brand loyalty to things like Little King, Hootie, that kind of stuff. If they make it and they make it well to where it is that beer that people remember, that beer that people want to drink for the nostalgia, for whatever reason they want to drink it, Cincinnati has plenty of other opportunities for the West Coast, the milkshakes, the pastry stouts, the smoked hellas, everything else out there. You have somewhere else you can get that.
Yeah, but as a company, you don't want people to have to go somewhere else.
Right, but I think that if they do justice to the brands as people remembered them,
Well,
people are going to buy them. You know, if you brew it, they will come.
Some
you know,
of them
whatever.
are old
but
enough to where nobody has a even realistic identity or recollection of what it was.
Sure.
And I think that's part of what previous ownership tried to do with
They tried to
the
modernize
Christian
it.
Moorline brand is say, hey, these other brands, we're going to make those as brand, but this Christian Moorline brand, we're going to try and make the brand that makes these other things.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that very well could be something that they do with brands that we have no real understanding or identity to, right? I mean, they could make one of those brands the brand that puts out that stuff.
Right.
And that's probably more logically what would end up happening. Going to a brewery where it's nothing but 4.8% lagers in some form.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I mean, right? I know. It's kind of like
Sounds amazing and delicious.
4.8% lagers and bacon.
Yeah. Sounds amazing and delicious. However, who's going to provide the IPA?
And they're all
option?
served in liter steins. Like you just get big ass mug of beer, you get a big ass pile of bacon, and you just
Your bartender is dressed like it's 1873.
I'm in.
Give me that all day long.
Right. So.
Oh man, we kind of jumped all over the place with this specific episode of Cincy Brewcast, but I think we touched on almost everything that I wanted to touch on,
Except
in very roundabout
the
ways.
burp count.
The burp count, yes,
Yeah.
because we have to have a burp
Did
count in
we
every
burp at all?
episode.
No, there's no burp.
The burp count, I had my clicker out the entire time I listened to this. It was in hand. It was ready. I was waiting. Not a damn one.
So you use the clicker that I got you or the clicker that Shift Beers got you?
Depends on what pod you're listening to.
Okay. So you switch out clickers.
I dual fist my clickers, and I'm
Good
just
answer.
That was still the most amazing thing in the world. Like Josh is like, "What did you order?" And I'm like, "I didn't." And then of course I'm thinking, "Shit, did I drunk order this? What the hell's going on?"
When you pulled that clicker out during that live show, and the other Josh looked over at me and he said, "She got a fucking clicker." And I'm like, "Yeah, I sent her a clicker." She's like, "You asshole." And then he pulled out of his bag his clicker.
No. Well,
Oh man.
I know my Josh said, he was like, "Hey, don't say anything, but I think Shift Beers got you one." And I'm just like, and then of course, even though I had no idea about it, I felt so bad. Like, oh God, I ruined this for someone.
Well, and like the funny part to me in my head is that I put off getting that clicker for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Like it was on my list of like I need to get them a clicker. And the week I finally did it just happened to be the same week that they did.
And what was even better is it arrived at the same day that I had another Amazon delivery. And I'm just like, I don't remember order. Like, I'm looking through my history. Like, when did I order this? Because I've been thinking about one. Because I'm like, man, this would be great to have. Everything about that, the timing of absolutely everything about that was beyond perfect. But yeah, I was dual fisting my clickers and didn't get to use either of them once. So I guess congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we won by losing.
Yes, there we go. Well, this has been going on for about 45 minutes already. Did you want to talk a little bit about Beer Booze and Bonks? Get that promoted out there? Both of your glasses are empty. I'm still working on mine, so let's take a super quick break. Marco, you're going to look at the cooler, maybe-ish, for something to drink?
No, I think I'm going to look at the cooler.
And then let's come back in and talk about what we can expect at Beer, Booze, Bonks, Boinks, Binks, and every other B word that I can think of.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Absolutely.
do it.
All right,
we'll be back. All right. Made it back. We all have some beers. Marco, what you drinking?
I went and grabbed a can of Founder's All Day IPA. No, I didn't. I did not do that. I got a can of Third Eye Brewing's Hop Shockra, which I have had on the pod before when it was on draft here.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
No?
This is a oatmeal stout from Schlafly.
Nice.
Shout out to Schlafly. They sent me a box of beer like in the
Nice.
last month or so.
Hell yeah.
They don't sponsor anything. They're not sponsoring this show, but they sent me a bunch of free beer. So I think I'm supposed to say that they did that.
That's great.
You probably should
That's
at least
great.
acknowledge the
How do we get people to do
generosity.
that for us?
I
don't know, man. You
think
gotta just-
we have to reach out to them, which we're terrible at.
You didn't do that.
I didn't do that. You know,
Oh, okay,
they just
right.
be very active on social media. Instagram. Instagram is still the thing.
All right. Marco, you're in charge of the Twitter and the Facebook. I will handle the Instagram, and we will see what happens.
Okay.
All right.
think
Maybe
you
get
have
some
to-
utopias.
I think you have
Yes.
to take pictures of yourself drinking beer, like on beaches and in hot tubs and things like that, and that usually helps get
What
engagement.
about drinking a beer while using Manscaped products?
That would work. Yeah,
There you go.
Manscaped would probably reach out, tag them on it.
Okay.
Manscaped.com.
All right.
Code Gnome.
All right, and I am going with Founders because it sounded awesome.
You got Founders after he
did,
got.
I
Man,
know.
you just canceled it out.
This is their French Toast
Jeez.
Bastard. It is probably a higher ABV beer than I should be drinking right now.
Does it
but
taste like racism?
Yes.
I'm glad.
Racism and French toast. But you know what? It doesn't taste as racist. Well, not really racist, but as socially unacceptable as a BrewDog beer. So
That's true.
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll accept that.
Shout out to Rat Magnet, who I'm sure is a huge fan of the podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely love. Like Marky, you've said that every time that you've worn one of the
Every time.
beer quality shirts,
Every time.
you've gotten comments.
Yes.
I never have. I don't know what the deal is, but it's cool.
Every time I've worn one of those beer quality shirts, I have gotten somebody has stopped me and told me that that's a really good shirt.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's excellent. I think there are a few days left on their current campaign. It might be done by the time this is out, so I'll have to cut this if I can find an actual date, but if not, I'll put a link in the show notes.
Have you ever
Links
gotten
in the
that
show
feedback
notes.
when you're standing there drinking a Founder's beer? Oh yeah, we like that company. Good job. bringing that
No.
up.
Wow.
I'm just asking. It's just a question.
It's all equality.
We are.
It's funny to go from drinking a Founder's beer to talking about Rat Magnet because
I know.
two very different sides of
I know.
the coin.
As soon as I'm like, you know what, that sounds good. And then all of a sudden I'm like, shh. As soon as I ask Annie, I'm like, let me do that. And I'm like, God damn it, that's Founders. Fuck, I just fucked this all up.
it's all right.
Damn it.
Okay. I mean, it is just beer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Yeah. I do try to be as responsible as I can when I'm buying beer for where my money goes. But
It is hard sometimes.
It is hard.
That you'll see something that sounds tasty and you get it, and then you remember, oh, that's a company that's owned by these guys, or that is these people that
Right.
maybe aren't great.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Founders isn't great. I'm
But,
not
sure. As
saying that.
there's a difference.
Just saying that
between-
there's been some accusations and some things that make
Right.
them sound like assholes.
Well, and there's a difference too between as a whole and as like a single
No.
person within.
No.
It all ties together
Culture
to where
is.
it should be. It absolutely is. But I'm just my reason for saying that is sometimes you'll have like an individual that starts saying stuff that is like, that is not okay. And the company is like,
I've met some terrible
no.
bartenders that say some horrible things.
Exactly. And you
that
know
are no
that that's
longer
not the brand.
bartenders.
Exactly. And this was just
Hopefully.
a lapse in judgment because I saw French toast and Imperial, and I'm like,
I'm going to make a terrible joke, but I won't.
I can always
Thank you.
cut it. All good. So let's talk about my favorite, and this is awesome because it's my favorite beer festival, even though this is only the second year of it. Beer, Booze,
Mine
and
too.
Bonks. Boinks, Binks, Biscuits. Does it offend you that I add 37 different B words to your festival's name? All right, cool.
No, of course not.
Awesome. What is your favorite B word that we have added to your festival's name in any previous episode?
I added boogers earlier, and
You
booger.
did, yeah.
Booger is one of my favorite words in the world. So
Is
I'm
it
gonna-
really?
Yeah, but you didn't add that, but I'm going to still use it.
Hell
Boogers.
yeah, that
Boogers
works.
is my favorite.
That
Boogers.
works.
All right.
That works. So this year, this is next week. So as this episode releases, you have a little less than a week to
Right.
buy your tickets.
We'll still sell tickets at the door.
door.
If you show up. Like, you can still get in theory. I guess there is a possibility we could hit capacity and you won't be able to get in, but I think we're okay. It's a big place. The folding warehouse is massive, so
It is, and
think we'll have space.
And there are two sessions: an afternoon session and an evening session.
yeah.
And I know that Marco and I talked before about, well, which session would be good to go to. And I always find beer festivals that have the afternoon sessions interesting because depending on what you want to do, you start drinking that much in the afternoon, your day is done. To me, I like to start kind of more in the
Sure.
evening to where you can still get a few things done during the day and then just wreck your entire evening.
I get that.
And it's awesome. So how
Here's
do
the other side of that, though. There are some beers that there is a chance they will run out at some point during the day. If
during,
they,
and by during the day, you mean during that first session?
hopefully during the second session.
Well, but again, just using your words, like there's some that
Your
won't
words.
last during the day.
Yeah, they will not last until the end of the night.
Okay.
So
okay.
first session, you are going to get first dibs at everything.
Right,
There is
right.
nothing that will not be on tap for the first session that will be for the second.
Okay.
But there will be things that will be things that do not last all the way through the second session.
And that's fair. There were some of those last
I
year.
mean,
There
you
were
hope
a few beers.
you hope
that-
to run out of everything by the
Right.
end,
At
right?
the very end, like
Right.
it lasts like 5 minutes. You hope everything goes, but that's not true. Full honesty. So one of the big reasons that this festival works so well is that it's at the Folding Warehouse, which is already a liquor license holder. It's not at the convention center or something like that, where if there's a beer that is left at the end of the night, it just, in theory, gets dumped. I know that that's not really
Can
what
those
happens at those festivals.
Can those breweries take them back and just
No.
sell them at their own
No,
tap
you
room?
cannot sell
No.
a beer that's
No,
already
you
been
can't.
legally.
Okay.
The advantage of being at the Folding Warehouse, if we go through half of a keg and it's still there, they just take it and put it in their cooler and put it on tap.
Okay,
And they can still sell it later. So there's a chance that in the coming months, you will find some really awesome beer at the Folding Warehouse.
Okay.
That's so we can, if we overbuy beer, we're okay. Like, it will still get drank and we'll still get appreciated.
And that's another cool thing that you mentioned.
We don't want to do that, but
Right, sure. I mean, you would love to have every single keg of every single beer that's there below. Like you said, the last 5 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever, to where the end of the night, it's done. You're potentially, depending on the beer,
And it's
never
also
going to see it
not
again.
terrible if a few people get to experience something from one or two partial kegs.
Sure.
A week or two, or whenever that pops up in the rotation. But that's good. That's a good model. Number one, because in year two, hopefully you learn something from year one and buying beer, and you can have a little bit more of a track. But the other thing is that it's not gonna go to waste. It's not gonna get dumped, and it's not money just down the
Wasted,
drain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And some of these beers are kind of really stupid expensive. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel a little guilty sometimes because this is not my money that's on. I don't own the folding warehouse. They are paying for all of this stuff. I merely tell them.
Spoiler alert. He does not own the folding warehouse.
I merely tell them, hey, I'm going to get this beer and I'm going to bring it. And then they write the check for it and say, okay. And some of these beers are numbers that, like, I'm like, ooh, that's how big is that keg? Is that's only a half barrel? Are you sure? That's not a full barrel of beer.
But that's also
2 kegs.
But that's also to the
6
brewery
barrels.
to decide how much of that beer they want to make for the event, though, right?
Yeah, there are some that are doing some special things. There is nothing. There's nothing that has been brewed specifically for the festival. I know that sometimes the marketing gets confusing and people say things that aren't real.
Okay.
There's nothing that was brewed specifically. There are things that may have had some flavors added to them. They're adjuncted. There are things maybe that are making their debut at the festival, things like that. But nothing is brewed specifically for the festival. That's not a fair statement that maybe other people have said.
But with that being said, I want to kind of throw back to last year, to the first Beer Booze Bonks. There were some absolutely amazing beers that the first time anyone got to try them, or maybe that they were even available, were at your festival.
Sure.
And, credit to everyone else that was involved last year. I know that you had a couple other partners that you worked with, and I don't want to discredit them at all for the roles that they played into it. But there were some beers there, like we talked before we started recording, Rheingeist. They made a lavender smoked Helles.
Smoked lavender Helles.
That was...
I drank that all night.
It was good.
That was
it was
one of
good
his
beer.
beers that
won a medal after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
yeah,
because I know what's good beer.
It's true. He
Good beer.
does.
We won't have that one specifically because I don't think there's any more of it left.
But that's one of those adjuncted styles that when I see like a Helles, a smoked Helles, smells like, sure, I will definitely grab a pint. That is one that I still talk about today. Like, man, I know it's not going to be there. I know that was probably a one-time thing.
Again, that was...
But I feel so, like, honored that I got to drink that beer because you did not see that anywhere else.
There's a reason for that, too. So
sure.
that was one of those ones that we had to make a phone call when we saw the list and we saw that was available, and then we saw the price. Like, oh.
Ooh,
I called
we really
and said,
want that.
I know that we were shooting for this range for our kegs to sit in. This one is over here, and I'm making a gesture with my hands that is
the people on the live stream can see
nowhere close to where all the other kegs were. I'm like, but this is a beer that I think is something special that I
so
think
it
that
worked.
And it
appreciate.
was.
It worked, right?
It was.
And there will be things like that. Specifically with the Rheingeist, we have 2 of their 3 kegs. That we should talk about that, but we have 2 of their 3 kegs figured out.
Okay.
And they are both fairly kind of normal pedestrian kind of things. They're both great offerings. One falls into the RG Bev range.
Nice.
And then one is a lager. The other one we still have not fully decided on, but it will be something that is kind of in that fun category.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, so the tent sponsors, so the main kind of row of the tents on the side there, instead of having one beer on tap, they're gonna have 3. Each one of those
That's
tents is gonna have
exciting.
3 different beers on, except for Fibonacci because they didn't have
just
enough
can't.
beer to give us 3. Oh, we have 2
Dude,
from them.
I love Fibonacci so much. So just the fact that they were able to make enough beer to be at the festival,
Yeah, they will be there.
is so incredible. Like, I love that so much.
I really want, now that the committee, we'll call it the committee of people deciding on beers, was a lot smaller. I got to kind of I got to put my spin on this a little bit more than what it was last year, and that places that maybe you don't typically see at a festival, be it a Fibonacci or a Dogberry or Alexandria, like these places are able to be here. And even if I had to
Anything from Narrow Path?
really twist, Narrow Path will be there.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Twist some arms a little bit and be like, man, you guys really need to be here. This
Narrow
is something
Path
that's
doesn't
different.
put beer anywhere.
Narrow Path is going to bring a beer that you've probably had. It's the coconut porter.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm in.
I couldn't.
Yes. Yes.
I looking at the list of things that they had available or things that they were willing to send, I couldn't not bring that coconut porter.
It is
so good.
damn good. The only thing that could
Is that
have been
Brew
better.
Traveler?
No.
No.
That's
That's
their
coffee.
Vietnamese coffee.
Vietnamese
It's just
coffee style.
coconut porter.
It's just coconut porter.
I think that's all it's called.
Only thing that could have beaten that is either Better Burden or that goddamn old fashioned beer.
Oh, that
Oh,
old-fashioned beer
God
was so damn good. I mean,
I would not leave. I'd be like, you take every single one of my punches, every single one. I'm not leaving this tent if that beer was there.
We can say some of the stuff that.
I was about to ask,
fun.
like, when are you planning to release this? Is it going to be when this episode releases? We should know some of the beers. Or
Hopefully.
is it still. All right.
I know you can probably do two things at once, but while you're looking up something, talk about some of the lessons learned, changes from
I was
year
curious
one to
about
year
that too.
two.
Yeah.
I mean, so some of the behind the scenes stuff isn't that exciting. Of trying to figure out how much beer is the right amount of beer to have, so you don't have too much left over, so that you're able to kind of provide some variety for people. Having only one beer from every brewery, and I'm not a huge fan of. I wanted more beer from.
I liked that
breweries.
idea. It was just a little frustrating when there was something that you liked and you went back and they were already shutting down the 10. But again, that's all part of the exclusivity of the event that,
So that was probably the biggest thing I think we walked away with. But then also the importance of the mystery beer machine.
That was so much fun.
That's still a big part of the
So
festival.
much fun.
You'll still get a mystery beer. You only get one mystery beer this time.
Yes.
We had a lot of people that were not
What with
drinking
the
mystery
gold
beers.
cans or?
Gold cans will be there. I don't know what exactly the prize will be. I have some things that I'm working on that I still have to
Bottle of
line up,
Utopias.
but
That's what I'm saying.
there will not be a bottle of Utopias.
And how many mystery beers did we get last year?
There were two last year.
Two per ticket,
Two.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it'll be one this year. You get one. You can still buy another one. They're like $2. Like you can buy another one if you want. We're not going to stop you from buying as many mystery beers as you want, but
God, that was so much fun.
That was fun.
That was a
but
lot
just
of fun.
just kind of dialing that in, trying to increase some of the fun behind it all. Having
So
having those breweries that to me mean something.
So are you picking all the beers that go into the
Yes,
mystery beer
yes.
machine this year? Excellent.
Well, nope, not the
no?
mystery. No.
Okay.
So
Right.
there may be some things that I pick in the mystery beer machine, but,
But
it
not
will,
everything
it will
is.
still be
Because last
what a
year-
mystery beer should be.
Because last year, and correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, every beer in the mystery beer machine was picked by either you or Meryl.
Not
Ish?
not entirely.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
There was a
So that was just advertising.
no,
That was just marketing.
They're lying to the people.
It was supposed to be that way, and we didn't quite get there by the end of the
Okay.
planning.
That's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
fine.
And budget stuff and things, just doesn't always work out the way you want.
As long as I get a Natterdays this year, I'm fine.
I don't
can't
know.
guarantee that.
I don't know if that's going to happen for you.
Let's
what
look at, let's
what
look
about entertainment?
at, entertainment?
WEBN.
Yeah, I mean WEBN is sponsoring it, but we don't have
And
live
Foaling.
music or anything like that. It is
Yeah.
Foaling is the entertainment. Like
Which
when
is
you're not.
which I love.
So,
that.
is the music? Is it just?
It's not just gonna be the radio station playing. It's gonna be like a DJ. I'm assuming.
I assume there's going to be a DJ. I don't actually know that.
You don't know.
No.
Okay.
DJ
Okay,
or
fair enough.
there'll be music happening like loudly.
So there will be loud music.
There will
There'll be music for you to
no,
listen to.
no,
from
no, no.
a source.
Maybe
there will,
Who
there
Let the
will be
Dogs Out.
sound
Something.
in the background
Inside joke.
coming from somewhere.
That's I'll have to tell you guys
A
that
lot of
story sometime.
Nickelback. Yes.
But the beer has been definitely my biggest focus,
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
and we're getting it nailed down. Nine Giant is bringing their oak aged lager, not the one that just won the medal. That was at the festival last year.
Right.
But we're doing Influx this year as their oak aged lager.
Oh yeah.
They have a maple barrel aged imperial brown ale that we're putting on that's going to be really fantastic. Black rye IPA.
There's apparently a barrel-aged brown ale from Streetside that some social influencers were involved with that
so
might be releasing this year. Not to tangent away from Beer Booze Bonks, but
Streetside, I don't have any of their beers nailed down yet for what will be at the festival.
right, that was a
But-
complete separate tangent. That
But on that note, stay tuned because
Yes.
they're definitely working on some fun stuff. But yeah, we got to
So I guess our invite for social influencers got lost. They got sent to the wrong.
No, because
if I get control over that beer, I will.
This was based on last year.
Yeah.
We really weren't a presence, so no, it's fine. It's cool.
There was a very, very lovely other Cincinnati beer blogger that liked to wear very tight jeans that was in control of that.
I gotcha.
Shout out to Meryl. What were we talking about?
So some of the beers that are you able? Again, this episode comes out on Friday. Will you know any of those beers that you can say?
I hope so.
If nothing else, a style.
He's like, yeah, maybe.
I can tell you that like we are. Like Municipal, we're working really hard. The first beer that's going to come out of their new brew house, we're working really hard to get that in there.
Okay.
There's still some stuff that still have to run through quality control and stuff like that. So I can't promise that'll be here.
So how about this? Are there any?
I can promise
any styles that you can say, hey, I'm not going to tell you the brewery that it's from, not going to tell you whatever, but you can expect and I'm pulling this out of the air, a lavender barrel-aged saison should be there. You know what I mean?
Just I can't promise that, but I can. So Fibonacci, and both of their beers are dialed in. I think we're comfortable with those.
Okay.
They're doing their Ida, the Berliner, with blackberries.
Yes.
The Linalool, the Belgian wit beer.
Yes.
That'll be there.
Yes.
Third Eye, Space Toast Continuum, the big brown ale. That'll be there.
Not gonna lie, a little disappointed that Fibonacci's not doing a variant of their Origin of the Species.
They just couldn't.
Oh, sure,
spare.
no, and I say that complete tongue-in-cheek whatever because
the Dark Aura, the peanut butter stout. I'm 99% sure we're gonna have a keg of that there. I talked about the Nine Giant a little bit. Braxton, I think we're gonna have a keg of Dark Charge, some kind of Dark Charge. No confirmation on which one yet.
You know what I would love, and I know that this wouldn't, and this might sound bad. It wouldn't be a special beer for the festival. I would love for Braxton to have reserved some Big Sis to bring to the festival because that was
I thought about that.
Yeah,
but it also doesn't fit into. Sure. What people want from a festival.
No, I get that. But that was
disagree.
That was such.
Give me a damn
beer.
good lager.
There will be good lagers.
That was such a.
Give me a damn
beer.
good lager and a lager that has an association
with
to you.
Sure.
And Cincy Brewcast.
I agree. I think that would fit.
I don't think that would be in any way wrong.
So there's a Truth Beer Pod call out for next year.
Okay.
Next year's Beer Booze Bonks. Make sure that there's some Big Sis there because it ties everything together.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
We had some logistical issues with Braxton this year that kind of make things a little more difficult. But
if it can happen, I think it would fit.
All Justin's fault.
It's all Justin's fault.
If it fits, logistically, whatever, I think that would be a perfect beer to have at your festival.
We'll try to make sure that there are plenty of lagers, there are plenty of IPAs, pastry stouts, big dark
Pasty
heavy beers.
stouts,
all of that stuff will be there. We're going to try to have a big wide range, and I think that's part of the difficulty of the puzzle.
Sure.
As things kind of start settling in, and one person is like, "No, I can't send this, but I have this." And I know it's a good beer. And I'm like, okay, so then that means over here I need to adjust this and kind of get that to fit in. So
and I definitely do want to call that out because last year, and I'm assuming that this year is going to be the same. Boy, that's
one
awful.
drop out of that can.
One drop. Marco is running dry again. There was such a great variety of beer styles that even if there was something, and Marco, I'm going to call you out and use you as an example.
Please.
If there are beers or styles that you can't have, or just flat out just I just don't like it, whatever, you still had a ton of options to drink. So this is not something to where you go to Beer Booze Bonks and it's all IPA,
right.
It's all stouts, it's all whatever. You have plenty of absolutely amazing options to drink while you're there. You're going to leave having a good time, regardless of either dietary limitations, style preferences.
That's a big thing for me. And there were some breweries that when I first reached out and I said, "Hey, we'd really like you to be at the festival," that responded with, "Okay, yeah, we'd love to be there. We're going to send this."
And did you say no?
Yeah. There are some breweries that are no longer part of the festival.
Hey,
This is different. This is when we say highly curated, it means something,
It's legit, yes.
I'm not bending to the will of what somebody else thinks they need to unload or put in front of people. This is it's about the bigger picture of the festival and to make a exciting, fun, well balanced festival. And that's sometimes tough to do when people.
And I hope that people that get tickets and that go to the festival understand that. I know that obviously we do, but this is not just another beer fest.
Right.
This is not just, hey, let's go somewhere where there are a bunch of different beers and we just drink a bunch of different beers. You can go into it with that mindset, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you step back and look at it from a craft beer community or like the Cincinnati craft beer scene, lens, these are special. Like, this is something that you're not going to find at as awesome as, the Cincy Beer Fests are, as the other beer festivals are. This is a completely different landscape because it is all local.
It's all local.
It is all something to where you, an individual, said, I want to make sure that there is a variety. I want to make sure that everybody has something that they're going to walk away from this festival going, holy shit, I never thought to try this kind of a beer before, or I never knew this brewery could make this
even on
kind
top of that,
stuff.
there's going to be beer, there will be seltzer, there will be spirits.
Right.
There, like, all of that stuff is part of this too.
And let's not forget, it's open foaling, right?
Right.
Just,
you can do
just
stuff.
get up and get your peeps out there and foal. And there's a large part of the community that has never been to foaling, doesn't know what foaling is, and they're going to get to experience.
I don't know if I'm
foaling.
supposed to talk about this yet, but for any Bearcat fans, Tony Pike, Bearcats quarterback from 2009.
I know Tony Pike. I got a story off.
I believe. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. I think Tony Pike's going to be there challenging people in foaling.
Well, hey.
He's going to be hanging out and embarrassing people.
That's awesome.
There is some really fun stuff that we're trying to make sure happens during the festival to make it something that's a little bit different.
I did love that because other beer festivals that I've gone to that have had some other, like, not air quotes for those not on the live stream. Hi guys, air quotes. Something else to do other than drink.
Shout out to the silent disco.
Silent disco, or the little
big wheels?
Yeah.
Big wheels, yeah.
It's something to where it's like, that's cool, but that's like a few minutes. You kind of have to wait in line. You have to, like, queue up for whatever. I never had an issue with finding a folding lane and just being able to, like, okay, I need to...
Yeah, my arm's still fucked up from that.
It is.
Don't underestimate the power that it takes to fold.
Right. I need to take a step back from drinking for a few minutes.
Yeah.
This gives me something
And don't
to
finger
do.
your cup hole for those of you who get a
Would you
beer.
stop?
Joe?
Like, people, don't
Finger
the cup hole. Jesus Christ. I mean,
Swear to God.
Swear to God.
So speaking of
Stop
fingering...
doing that.
Speaking of what?
Speaking of fingering the cup holes, promo code GNOME at manscaped.com. There is no after party this year.
There is no after
It is
party.
just the event.
Although we can
frame.
probably say it on this show, and don't go spreading this around. I think you can still probably hang out after the festival.
You're only
I think
saying that
it's-
because we have like a 10 of listeners.
But
right?
I think we're going to keep things open. Obviously, it will not be an actual structured party, but
they're not going to kick you out
You're not gonna kick
exactly
that.
at
So,
the end.
don't tell people that.
Food options?
You're asking me questions that are not nailed down yet. I assume we'll have something similar to what it was last year, La Rosa's, and some like barbecue and things like that.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
I'm glad they're not nailed down. It's only a week away.
You're telling me, man. It's a week and a half ish.
Okay. I mean,
Hey, he's in charge of the beer. Don't ask him about anything.
Fair enough.
It's like we talked about in the brewery news episode.
When people
Do
call
you wanna
me
focus
and they're podcasting, and I'm in the middle of like making my kids dinner, and they ask me, "Hey, what are you up to?" And I say, "Man, things are kind of hectic right now." Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, there is so many moving parts to everything that I do that it's always chaos. It's not always fun. It's chaos.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Okay.
And I mentioned this to you before, like when you showed up and we were just talking before recording anything. If I ever say, how are things going, and you don't answer chaos, I'll know something is seriously wrong.
One of these days it won't be
One of these
chaos.
days, sure. But for now, I feel like that's kind of like the code word. If I say chaos, hey, man, it's going.
No, it's
all
good.
right.
Things are good. The festival will be good. Like I'm
gonna
confident
be
where we're at.
amazing. Yes.
But no, like there are things that like are definitely not like in ink nailed down right now that
You wish
man,
kinda were.
hell if I know.
Yeah, being in the beer business now full time, there's a lot of ish, and I usually don't operate that way. And so, I mean, for anybody that is trying to actually put a beer festival together and rein things in, that ish is probably very annoying.
It's all ish. Everything is ish.
Everything is ish.
Everything is ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just. It's not how I usually operate.
I mean,
And
my
it's-
biggest concern this year is the same as it was last year. When I bring my adventure hoodie and all that, because it's probably going to be chilly by the time we get there.
For sure.
Can I toss it behind the Gnarly Gnome table?
Yeah, my wife will watch it for you.
Sweet.
Shout out to Mrs. Gnome.
She's working for free
She's
that
going
night.
to be
I'm not paying her
taking
anything.
care.
Awesome.
Unless you guys buy all of the merch, then maybe I'll give her a paycheck.
There,
Sweet.
they're
I mean,
jokes, and I'm just not.
And
I'm not going there.
Truth or Pod will be there, and
Yes.
we'll post something about.
I'm going to record live from the day at some point. So if
If it's the
anybody's
early
there,
session, we will not be there. If it's a late session,
late session.
we'll
late
see.
session.
We'll see.
We're
Late session
all-
tends to be where I get a little lit too. So
which is the best.
Let's go.
time to record.
we'll see.
Let's go.
And just to kind of recap, if you see Marco or I at Beer Booze Bonks, ask us about Utopias, and there will be a little something special for you from the two of us, and
Yeah.
Something for me too.
and something
from the gnome.
from the gnome. So if you are listening to this entire episode, you will know, and you will know what to do.
Yeah.
We'll repeat this next week.
I'm capping
Just-
that at like 5 shirts. Like I'm going to put
That's
that out
fine.
there right
Yeah.
That's
no,
fine.
Five.
That's fine. That's
Done.
fine. But it's going to be amazing. I cannot wait. I am beyond excited. As much as I want to say, let me know how I can help. I just want to show up and drink.
Just that's
And
how you
just-
can help.
I mean,
Enjoy
I
the
think
whole
that's
thing,
the thing. I mean, we were
but-
talking about maybe podcasting from there, but I mean, we're paying for tickets, so we're just gonna we're just gonna show up and have fun, really. So I mean,
And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
to kind of wrap up this episode of Truth, Beer, and Consequences, Gnome, is there anything about Cincy Brewcast, Gnome Creative, Drinking with the Gnome, Beer Booze Bonks? Tell people, and this is completely stolen from your show because it's where we get most of our inspiration, to be perfectly honest. Tell people what they can do to support you, support the show, what they should know about everything that you do.
Just get your tickets to Beer Booze and Bonks. Go to the gnarlygnome.com/beerboozebonks to learn more, or go to the gnarlygnome.com/tickets just to go straight there and get your tickets and order them and buy some for your friends. If you buy 10 tickets, you can put it in like a VIP package and get early entry, which is
It does look like a couple of those for
I
the evening
love
session are
early
sold out.
entry.
yeah, it's a half hour
Who
early.
doesn't love getting in early?
That's right.
Yes.
Shout out Manscaped.
Promo code no.
That's right.
Thank you guys. I
Thank
love
you
the
for,
show. It's always
for
fun.
showing up.
Thank
yeah.
you.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed what we do,
Can you write a doctor's note for my wife after me hanging out way longer than I was
I
supposed
can.
to?
absolutely,
Sign
absolutely.
it.
My
I
handwriting
could
is
sign
bad
it
enough that
Charles
I can make
Barkley.
any doctor's note.
I can sign it, Charles Burke.
I just want you to know that your husband was with Truth Being Consequence, and the podcast was so terrible. But it was like my golf game a long time ago, but he stuck it out and bared with it. So this is his excuse for taking so long with them.
That's a
And,
bad doctor's note.
She's not going to be able to.
And
It's not going to be legible anyway.
That's
What
true,
does it really
that's
matter?
He had a dark lager, and Marco is so stupid. He thought a dark lager was when Wesley Snipes cut down a tree.
Oh my God.
We should have called my wife just now and had him.
We still. I mean, technically, we.
You don't
still
have a cable. You don't have the cable for my phone.
Oh, that's right. I'd have to call from my phone because I was like, I had the Bluetooth, but you'd have to, and then she'd be like, I don't know this number,
Yep,
so
yep.
not answering. Gnome, thank you so
thank you,
incredibly
guys.
much for stepping in and talking with us about
Of course.
all things going on with you. We always appreciate everything that
Likewise.
you do.
Likewise.
Support the Gnarly Gnome, thenarlygnome.com/support. Give him your money, buy his merch, listen to all of his podcasts, follow him on all of his social media platforms. We have links for everything in our show note descriptions. If you like what we do and not what Gnome does, you can follow us too.
Like what all of us do.
Yeah,
All of
like
us
what
do,
all
yeah.
of us do. I mean, come on now.
We're a community. Everyone supports everyone, and it is amazing. We are at Truth Beer Pod on all the social media platforms. All of our episodes are out on YouTube, which now that they have handles, we are at Truth Beer Pod on YouTube as well.
Holy shit.
I know, it's amazing. If you want to monetarily support our show, go to truthbeerpod.com, and we have a nice blue buy us a pint link. You can send us a couple bucks. We believe it or not, we actually are trying to figure out some type of video. We don't know if it's going to be clips, full episodes, whatever. We are working on that, so we really, really appreciate your support while we figure all of that out. It's kind of a, two-person show for getting all of this set up, put out there. We're doing our best, but thank you. And
Thank you.
just thank you. And until next week. What are you doing on Tuesday, Marco, and maybe even Gnome?
I'm going to listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts from the previous week, get together here at our podcast house, and talk about it with you.
Sounds great.
I'm going to try to finish planning a beer festival.
Sounds excellent. We'll see you guys soon.